Okay, so hello everybody, if you just joined. I just started with the lesson. So you just need, this is the class 3. If you follow 1 and 2, you will have the movie database open. So you just open the file that we have worked on class 1 and 2, which are the movie database. And what we're going to show you today is what I didn't have time last week. And I show you how to do calculated columns and calculated tables. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the movies before 1960 and after do this so you can get this formula really easy, and you can get a column with that. So I can create a column, an extra column here, where I'm gonna have only movies that were made after 1960. So I can sort it out. So I can go here and filter them. So I can go here and I can do ascending. So I can do ascending. I can scroll down and find out which one are 1960, right? That's a way to do it. And then I click filter, and when I want to get ready, clear sort, it takes out the sort. So when I did the sort, you're gonna see that the sort is taken. I did the sort because there is an arrow here showing that there is a sort done. When I wanna get rid of this, I just clear the sort. So I just click on the left, on the mouse on the left finger. I just clear the sort and everything goes back to the way it was. Or I can go and click again on the arrow, the caret, and choose the years. So I can go and choose the years 1960 and so on. And it's gonna show me all the years that I pick up. But it's, you can see, I only pick up a couple, but I will have to keep clicking. And it's gonna take me a while, right? So it's time consuming. So I'm just gonna clear this filter. So he says here, clear filter. And you can see when I have a filter, you see a funnel. So I'm gonna clear this filter because I don't wanna do that. That takes too long. It's okay if you are doing some kind of fast filtering, if you wanna see something temporarily, just for very quick. But let's do something more time efficient. So we're gonna do calculations. So we're gonna do a calculated column. To do a calculated column, we're gonna go here. We're gonna go to the model. This is the model. Where do I go for the calculated column? Calculated column. Column tools. New column. So there are two ways to write the formula. So we're gonna write it as a text column. Okay, so I'm gonna give you the formula I had to write it as a text column. So, okay, now let's back up. So the way you're gonna add a column, you're gonna go here to data, to the data. You're gonna go, you're here home. You're gonna go, you press the column, you press any column, and it's gonna say new column, press new column. When you press new column, you're gonna get a formula field. right here. In the formula field, we're gonna get a chance to write a formula similar to what we do in Excel. And we use something called DAX, DAX, is data analysis expression. And that's where we're gonna put the formula. I'm gonna write it, you can watch it, you're gonna write it, and I'm gonna explain it, and then we can do it together. So on the column left, we put the name of the formula. So that name is gonna show up here on the field. So you can see it right here is showing as a placeholder. That's where it's gonna show up. So it's showing right here on the left, and it's gonna look at a little bit different than the field. So you're gonna know which one is a field and which one is a measure, which one is a measure. So these are gonna be measured or calculations. So I'm gonna erase this and I'm gonna call it a name. So I'm gonna call it before, and I'm gonna put underscore so it goes all together, 1960. I like to put underscore so everything is together. You don't have to do that. It's just my preference. Then I'm gonna use, kind of like in Excel, I'm gonna use this formulas or this language that comes standard on Power BI. So when I call it, it's gonna recognize it. So I'm gonna write if, and when I do if, similar to Excel, it's gonna recognize it. So if, and I'm gonna double click, and it's gonna bring up the syntax. And it's telling me already, suggesting the syntax. And then I'm gonna bring one single quote. Single quote is for database. So what the database that we're gonna bring? Movies. And what is the column that we're gonna bring up? Year. So we're gonna bring here, we're gonna find year. So that's the way we double click. We have to double click, and it's gonna assign it. So when we put single quote, it's gonna bring all the database register under our model. And then we double click the one we choose. So it's gonna bring the single quote is the database, bracket is the column inside the database. So now we have year, which is what we want. We want the year. So if the year is less, so this is the way I'm gonna write it. We can write it different. It's less than, so since it's a text, we have to put 1960 because it's written as a text, like the gentleman just said, comma, and then the message. We're gonna put a message before the 60s, and a double quote because it's a text. So text, we have to put it in quotes. That's just something we need to learn. And after the 60s. And have to learn how to spell the 60s. And when we put the N, when we finish, we need to put the N parentheses. So this parenthesis is the beginning of the syntax for if, needs to match the end parenthesis for the end of the if. When we're done, we're gonna press enter. And if it's correct, it's gonna populate the column. If it's not correct, it's gonna give me an error. So we'll see. Okay, so it worked. It worked. Yeah. So what it's telling me, the way I designed this formula, and you can do this the way that you want. I designed it very simple. You can design it the way more sophisticated. I designed it very simple for this class. So the way I designed it was, if the movie is was made before 1960, I wanted to say before that, before 60s. Is the movie it was made after, it will tell me. So here it's after. So all this it says after. So we'll see. Let me make this smaller. So you can compare. Let me remove all this because we don't need them. We don't need any of this stuff because this is, let me remove all this stuff. I cannot remove it because I'm not in the Power Query. I can just make it smaller. Okay. But you guys can see it better because you guys gonna be here. So here, year, so imagine year 1958, that's before. Year 1958, that's before. 1960 is after. So maybe an improvement will be, you know, 1960 is no after 1960. So maybe you, an improvement will be equal to. So there is some room to an improvement here. I just did something very simple. So 1962, 1965 is after. So all these, and then we get 1934, 1935 before. Okay, so, and it is shows up here. This syntax without a single quotes too. Yeah, but sometimes it's iffy. If you don't put the single quote, it's iffy. Like this is a very simple one, but then you start building if, filter, sort, and adding others 4 or 5 lines, it gets very, very complex, and it's not picking up. It gets really, really crazy. So, so if it's not picking up, start using the single quotes.
Okay.
Okay, because I have spent too much time finicking with this stuff. So, so here it's gonna show this is the, if you wanna edit it again, you will click here and like you go here and you're out of it. And then you go back here, this is the measure and it's gonna show up here. So if you wanna change it, this is where you will change it. So maybe here is before, in 1960. So if you want to change it in 19, oh no, this it will be that before 1960 will be 1960 or after. That will be a better syntax because we're picking up 1960 and after. So for example, so if you want to be more precise, because there was a 1960 here and it was picking, yeah. So for example, this one, that would be 1960 and or after. So that would be a better syntax for that. So, so here I use quotes because like the gentleman said, the year, the syntax for the year is in text. Where is the data? Where is the data? Column tools. The data type for the year is in text. So anytime we use text, we use quotes, 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 quotes. So that's why I use quotes here for 1960, so they can read it. So you have to put anything that is data type text, you have to put on quotes so Power BI can read it. It's apples and apples, you have to read it. if you don't put that, it'll be apples and orange. It will give you an error. So you can see that if I take the quotes, it's gonna give me an error because it'll be apples and orange. Yeah, it says the value, the format, the comparison doesn't work. So that's why you put the quotes, no single quotes, the double quotes. So they understand what you're talking about because it has to compare text with text. Okay, so let me do it again in case you lost. So when you go, you get new column, you get the empty space, then you write before, then you call the if parenthesis, you use the single quote, or maybe you can start typing and it'll show up. But if it's not showing up, use the single quote, and you have to have the syntax, database, bracket, year bracket is the column. Then for the if, the syntax is you put the comparison, the test. The test is this less than 1960 or not? That's the test. That's why they call it the logical test. And what is the message? So this is so the test is before 1960. So this is the true. If the test is yes, it's before 1960, this is the message. If it's not, this is the message. So this is pass the test message, fail the test message. So you can see it that way. And then you press enter and the message populates. So you get that. So the error that you're getting is because you might not have the 1960 in quotes. So you need to have the 1960 in quotes. Then you have to have a comma. So let me put the formula in the, or I can go, I'm gonna put it in the chat. So you just copy and paste on the chat. Just take that formula I put on the chat and put it there, exactly. And then compare to what, you have to be careful with the commas and the quotes. The quotes, maybe it's because you have to, if you have to make sure your year, if the data type in your year is text, you use quote. If the data type for your year is whole number, then you don't use the quotes for the year, but you always use it for the message. Okay, let me do one with I'm gonna change the year to number. You don't do this. I'm just gonna show you just for the sake of show you what happened, but don't do what I'm gonna do, okay? I just wanna show you what happened. So I'm gonna change this to whole number. So if you have whole number, just watch the way I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna change to whole number. If you have text remain, just leave it alone. So I'm gonna remove the quotes. And then I'm gonna press enter. There it is. So if you have the year, this year, whole number, you have to compare apples and apple, orange and orange. So you have whole number in the column, and then you have to have compare with whole number. So the whole number is without the quotes, but the text, this text remains in quotes, and this text remains in quotes, always, because it's text, as you can see. Because it recognizes it, you just do this. So it's a binary choice, it's 0, 1. But if you wanna give a message, you know, like a fail, pass or fail, if you don't put the quotes, like if I do this, that's gonna be an error because the computer doesn't know what pass is. It doesn't know letters, but it knows numbers. Only knows letters when I put quotes. When I put quotes, then it says, oh, I can read that. Let's see if it fixes it now. There. Yeah, so it seems it's like the consistency. So you can put, so let's do the one I had before so people don't get confused with what I had before. So if you have whole number, remember the important thing is to be consistency with your data type because otherwise the computer is gonna give you trouble. Okay, so that's the only thing I want to show you with the calculated column. So you can do that. You can do calculated tables. So let's do a calculated table. So you can get a whole table. So, and I'm reading the notes, I mean the handout. So to create a calculated table, I'm going to the data view. And on the left side, select new table, table tools, and I create new tables. And then I'm gonna I'm just gonna copy paste what I have on the handout. Exactly, I'm just not gonna. So what it is I'm gonna pick up the directors. Distinct is a function that lives in Power BI, and it's gonna take unique. It's gonna pick up unique. In this case, it's gonna pick up unique names found in the column directors. So if you go to the directors, let me take this off so we can go to the directors table. Let me cancel this. So let's go to the directors table under movies. And you can see there are several directors there, and there might be some repeat. There might be some repeats there. I don't know if there are repeats. I will have to look the whole data to see repeats. So the best thing is to have the computer tell me, Power BI tell me the unique directors, there are any unique directors. So I don't want to tell me how many repeat, how many directors have 10 movies. I just want to tell me the unique ones. So that's what I'm going to have. So I'm going to get new tables. And when I get my formula bar, I'm just going to put the formula. And this thing is going to pick up only the unique directors from that column. So I'm going to click enter. And these are going to be only the unique directors. So that they're not going to be repeat on this list. So that's another, and it's going to show up here. So that's another table. And this table is going to show up under the model. And you can see it here. And you can have several of this. So these are like outputs that you can have from the data. All good? Okay, so we can say bye-bye to this data. You can save it if you wanna keep working on it, but we're done with this. I send you a file that you can either use the Power BI file, so you don't have to upload the file again, you know, like get the raw data and up the Excel file and upload it. So you can just get this file. Either I send it to you this morning on email. There was a link on an email, or you can go to the handout and click here and download it. But you'll have to have, some people told me this morning that you have to upgrade your Power BI. If that's the case, you might want to get the Excel file, download it to your computer, and then you have to upload the data to your computer, to their Power BI. So either way, I have the file here. So let me open my file. And it's gonna be some Dow Jones data that I've got. No reason, from almost 10 years ago. So no inside information, no stock tips of any kind. So it's data that was made public by some organization for students. So, and if it says error, just ignore it, because it's well, mine might be errors because I have some stuff, but yours is not gonna have this. It's gonna have only the data. So yours is just gonna have this data. When you open it, it should just have this data, and maybe you need to have, if it didn't, you might need to have the row. No, if just ignore, you don't need the R. You don't need the R. We're not gonna do the R. You don't need the R. Just ignore it. Mine, this says there, it says that it needed the R, but I ignore it, and we're not gonna need it. That will be another class. Hopefully I learn R so I can teach it to you, but not today. Or maybe one of you wanna teach R, learn it and wanna teach it to us. So so this is all we need. We just need this data. Make sure your rows are promoted here. And if not, just watch and you can do it later. It's okay. We're gonna do, I just wanna show you time series today. So this is a data, we're gonna have quarters. These are, so the quarters, we have a couple, this is large data, 750 data points. They have several stocks, date. This is data in opening. What the price when it opened, when it closed, the record when it the high, where it reaching the high on the week. This is a week data. So what it opened on the week, what is high on the week, low, close, the volume, and some other data. We're not gonna look into depth. It's just to show you how to do the graph. So once you have this, let me know if you have at least some. Let me know if you, some of you were able to do that. So you're gonna have 750 data records. Okay, so I'll show you this. So we're gonna perform, these are different data. I just wanna show you the first one that we're gonna do is that perform a simple data time series. So with that data, so we're gonna do the open data, the opening. And the idea of this time series is to find trends. Trends is to find out is what the data is trending to be. Is it trending to be up? Is trending to be out? What is the what is the overall behavior of this, and is the all the stocks are behaving close together, or is there stocks that are outliers, or some of the stocks are not behaving according to the others. So there is, we're studying the behavior, how they are behaving together, and if they are behaving together as a group. So we're studying that. And by studying the behavior, we also are trying to see if we can do inference, if we can predict the future. Predicting the future is very hard, but there are things that can be forecasted. That's forecasting. So this is a time series for the opening. So we're studying here how is the behavior of the opening for that time period, and the Power BI is giving some kind of forecasting. So to do that, I'm gonna do one here. So I'm going to make it small here, and then we compare if. So we have here our Dow Jones data, and there's a very simple graph. We're going to start with a line graph right here, line chart. So we put a line chart. Let me get this filter out of here so you can see it better. So we have a line chart, and then we're going to put time, a measure of time, and then we're going to do open the data for the opening day. So on the axis, we're going to put date. And for this time, we're going to do the date. We're not going to do the hierarchy. For this date, we have to do, we make sure it's not a hierarchical day. So make sure it's not hierarchical. So we have to choose, we cannot choose this. We have to take this off, make sure you don't have that. So let's choose again and make sure you don't have year, you have quarters. We have months, maybe. Let's try that one. If not, I'm gonna have to fix it again. And then I'm gonna use open. There it is. We have open. So we have this trend here. So this is a time series. So this is in a year only for a period of time, January to June. So they start open at 6,000, start increasing, then increase at 8,000, and then they drop the opening and something happened. They start opening high and then they drop. And we only are doing, I don't know what's going on, but we're just evaluating the graph. We just have one side of the data, just the opening. There is more dimension to this data, and we're gonna put everything together. So we just do the opening. So we can do the forecasting now, but the forecasting is not gonna show because the date, and this is a trick here, the date is hierarchical. So to change the date, we need to remove the hierarchical. So this is a trick here that you have to do. So we need to change the date to text. And maybe there is a better way to do it, but I haven't found. We have to change the date to remove the hierarchical. And then I'm gonna put it back to date. But I'm not gonna do the hierarchical. So I'm not gonna click here. Do not click here. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And now when I'm here, I'm gonna go to where it says analytics. And when I say analytics, now I get the forecasting menu right here. So I find the forecasting menu and I'm gonna add. And then I can choose the length. I can put month. The longer the forecast, the less precise it is. So I can put here maybe 3 months. And then a confidence interval 95%, which is standard. And then I'm gonna change the color to a color that is different. So it shows that it's the forecasting, it's no the status quo. And you can add some other things there, and then you make sure you apply. So it means that the opening for the next 3 months can fall anywhere between this cloud here. So if you are interested in the future, you can base your decision. So this is what Power BI gives you. So usually you'll have to do these calculations with a lot of pencil, and now Power BI gives you this. So this is a very powerful modeling that gives you. So you can do that. Then you'll do that with each attribute. So you do that with a high value. And then that gives you another dimension, and you can superimpose and start seeing a pattern. So there is something happened in May. Something happened in May. There was a peak in May. There was something, this is low. So even the low was very high in May. And then the close, and so on. And this one was something that I did that didn't work. And you can start working. Then you can create another graph here. This is a scatter one. So before I proceed, any questions so far about the forecasting and the time series? Okay, so the other one you can do is evaluating each stock. To evaluate each stock, this is the same graph that I have here. To turn this graph so you can see each stock, what you do is you move the stock here to the legend. When you move the stock to the legend now, you get each stock. You get each stock represented there. And now you can see the behavior of each stock and see if anybody is behaving in a different way or all are behaving in in the same way. So that's just by moving that. The other way, the other interesting way is if you use the hierarchical way. In this case, the hierarchical way, in this case, you can drill down. So you can go here and drill down. So I'm using the hierarchical way here. So I'm gonna take this one. So I just use it. So I can go and drill down. So year, quarter, month, day, and see how now you can really see, oh, they are working really, they are moving in sync, all of them. are working, they are really opening, they're behaving together. They are opening at different level, but they are really moving together. So that's information that the graph is giving you. And you can go up, May. So there's different information this graph can give you by the different ways you design. So I invite you to look at them and see what else you can find of them. You can also use some measurements. So I can here get the average of the measurements. I could do the maximum percentage. And by doing the maximum percentage, you can use the, oh, I didn't want to do that one. I wanted to do this one that I was here for some reason. When you can use this natural, this is the artificial intelligence that they have. So I have here a maximum stock here. So I can talk right here, max stock. And it's gonna give me that, but also is gonna give me what is the mass or so that's gonna, just by typing, it's gonna give me what are the stock that had the higher price. And I got that just by typing, and it helps because I had here the maximum. I had it calculated. I calculated here with that. So there are a lot of things you can do that we already look about it. You can use the slicer to look at different trends here. This is to find outliers. So like, for example, this stock is the IBM is way ahead of the mean. This is some other ones by date. And so on. And the other thing I was going to show you, and I have the tutorial here on the, there is a tutorial here for a Power BI apps. And the Power BI apps has an app that already has the stock visualization tool, but is one of those apps this analyze popular stocks with Power BI, but it's one of those things that you have to have Power BI Pro. I have a trial, but you see that it expires in 6 days. So you don't have to build anything. It already comes already made for you. And you can just choose what stocks you want, and it adds the graph here. And you can choose different graphs, and it's already have all the graphs made for you, so you don't have to make them. And here it tells you how to get the app if you want to get the app. And that works only on Power BI online, not on the desktop. Okay, so this is the end of the Power BI series for this year. I hope it was helpful to all of you.